And away we go. What is the nightcap? Right here on BearcatJournal.com. Tuesday, June 14th. Brought to you, as always, by Galactic Fried Chicken. Visit www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app for Android, iPhone, everything Galactic. Make sure you get down to Dayton. Get your order in. Tell them to pump it up. And save yourself 15% off of your order. All right, Aaron Smith. Oh, by the way, Aaron, I stopped down. Finally, Scotty can leave me alone now. I finally stopped by Urban Artifact after camp today. He gave me the grand tour. It's a pretty impressive operation. I didn't realize they own almost a whole city block where they do everything. Urban Artifact World Headquarters.
Yeah.
I have not indulged yet. I'm gonna save that for Thursday night for the BCJ pod to get my first whistle. I did let Kelly have a seltzer.
Wait. That's news. What? We're off tomorrow?
Yeah.
On my birthday?
We're gonna go Thursday.
Love it.
Yeah, we're gonna go Thursday.
All right.
I've got little birdie season on Wednesdays and
all good, man. Just
I'm gonna
off on my birthday. We'll have to do a nightcap. You'll get me in whatever state of sobriety I'm in at that point, and
yeah. No BCJ pod tomorrow. Next week, Wednesday, with none other than Mo Egger. So,
very good.
But yeah. So Kelly is trying the orange creamsicle seltzer, and her review was it's tart, and I was like, it's on the can. She's like, it's good. It's a little tart. I'm like, yep, that's in the description. They let you know that right away. They're very open and honest about it being tart.
Yes.
But she liked it. She said it's good. Nice, refreshing summer beverage. I was at camp today. Oh, those poor kids. Those poor kids.
Hotter than a fresh chicken tendy from Galactic.
Significantly hotter than I mean, it was standing. Aaron, I was driving to camp, okay, in my car with the air conditioning on, sweating.
Stuck to your seat.
Yeah, that's just it. It was so hot that you were sweating in the air conditioning. And then you got out of your car and it was like, this is gross.
Can't even breathe because the air's so humid.
Yeah. So a surprise today that was not expected, and if we're pulling back the curtain here a little bit, not expected until Friday. But I guess Cam Calhoun decided he couldn't wait and popped his commitment this afternoon while camp was going on. For me, it was awesome. You know that little room at the practice facility? They got the little, it's like a kind of a weight room. It's air conditioned in there. So when he committed, I walked in there and did some work from inside the air conditioning for 15 minutes. So that I appreciate that, Cam. Well done. You know what's wild is having a kid rated 87.2 or 87.22. And when you go to the commits page, having to scroll down a substantial amount to get to him.
Yeah.
That's not normally how this works. But obviously a decommit from West Virginia, got the Cincinnati offer, decommitted from West Virginia, and then today pulled the trigger for the Bearcats, another top 25 player in Ohio. I believe that gives them 9 of the top 25 at this point, 8 or 9.
10th ranked player in this class.
Yeah. That's bananas. Total bananas for a kid. It's unfathomable that we're at the point where a kid over 87 is the 10th ranked player in the class. It's just crazy. One.
And there's 2 more ranked over 87 behind him.
Right? Yeah, that's 8 players in the top 25 in the state of Ohio that the Bearcats have landed so far. And then the number 3 player in Indiana, number 7 player in Michigan, number 9 in Michigan, a top 100 from Florida, which is massive, and Luke Evans, Brady Drogish, 11 in Michigan. Just a wild recruiting haul to this point for Cincinnati. And the latest, Cam Calhoun. And I had to explain to somebody again today, what's with all the defensive backs? They're 6'2", and in that 175 to 200-pound range, you take all of them you can get. 6'2", 6'3", long, athletic. And I used Brady's conversation from last night. Sincere Lewis was a safety. And then he showed up, and in 6 months, put on 40 pounds. Now he's not a safety anymore. Like, you just don't know. Kids in that range, their bodies are still so young and developing. And if you're already at that height and you're around 200 pounds, Lord knows what's going to happen when you get into a college weight room and you really get a chance to you get the right nutrition, you get the right sleep, and you get the right training.
Well, going back to Brady's conversation from last night, it sounded like half these kids that just got to campus just really haven't known how to properly use a weight room at all.
Almost none of them do.
So, I mean, and of course, I can only imagine Brady just like, oh boy,
right?
Can't wait. Because, if they haven't had that training, first off, you're not having to rewrite history or anything like that, right? You're not having to, correct a whole lot of stuff if they simply haven't been doing it.
They don't have bad habits.
Right. So you have that on top of just fresh clay. You get to mold them the way that you want them molded, not trying to break down and reconfigure based on what you want them to be.
Correct. Interesting camp today, and I'm sure we'll have more on Cam, as time goes on.
Well, I have one more thing on Cam before you change topics. When was the last time a Winton Woods kid actually committed to Cincinnati? And I think that's
Malik
huge.
Momar, maybe.
We've been in on these Winton Woods kids for a little while. It's a high school that was very close to my home as a kid growing up, and it's, I think, important that you have some high talent coming out of Winton Woods, and we've finally gotten over that hump with one of those targets. So,
well, times are changing at Winton Woods. They have a new staff. The old staff was, and it's a great segue that you're introducing here that you didn't mean to. The old staff was very close with the University of Kentucky, and they put a lot of kids on the roster at Kentucky. And the new staff it doesn't have that direct connection, and are a little bit more pro Cincinnati, or at least not
open
anti Cincinnati. Right. So that door is going to be open a little bit more. Does that mean Cincinnati's going to start, flooding the gates with Winton Woods kids? Not necessarily, but it does mean they're going to get a fair shake, and that's all you can ask for.
Can't hurt,
right? Kentucky. So interesting. I got a text from Dave this morning, and it was a tweet from Justin Rowland, who runs the Kentucky Rivals site. For some reason, the tweet has since been deleted. When I was looking to show you the tweet,
right,
it didn't exist anymore. Luckily, I had a screenshot. Should I show the screenshot here to show that it exists?
Sure. Well, that's just a glow.
That doesn't work. That's not going to work. The tweet says, "I'm sensing World War III between UK and Cincinnati on the trail. No question, UC's best class ever. Lots of overlap with UK. Big tug of war over summer camps, visits, and commitments." That sounds like a program that's a little concerned with what's happening now that Cincinnati's headed to the Big 12. And because, look, Cincinnati has felt like it's been in a tug of war with Kentucky for a while now, because they've overlapped on a lot of kids.
Largely on the losing end.
In a lot of senses, yes. Like Alex Safari last year. You know, that Cincinnati wanted him pretty bad and went out of their way to try to flip him down the stretch. But it feels like they are feeling the tide in Ohio turning. They are feeling like, and I honestly think there's a lot of schools feeling this at this exact moment, because Ohio has always been a very fertile recruiting ground in that everybody just kind of, you know, Ohio State is going to get
who they want.
The top 5. Generally speaking, you'll see an Alabama or a Notre Dame or whatever. But for the most part, like this year, for example, number 1, Ohio State, number 2, Notre Dame, 3, 4, 5, Ohio State. So you know that's kind of, you know, and 7, 6 Northwestern, 7 crystal ball to Ohio State. And everybody else looked at Ohio and said, all right, well, we're just going to feast on that second tier of kids from Ohio. And now Cincinnati has number 8, a shot at number 9, a shot at number 10, and then 14, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, and 25.
There's a lot of schools I can't imagine are super excited about that for Cincinnati.
Yeah, because it's the realization. How many times over the you know, just in my 16 years doing this, has there been talk of like Cincinnati is a sleeping giant in recruiting in the area? And all it needed was somebody that understood Ohio, understood the lay of the land, and was able to build the foundation and have the success. And then that tide was going to turn. And sure shit, here we are. And now places like Kentucky, because this is playing out in terms of also, like, as the tweet said, getting 2024 and 2025 kids to come to your campus for camp. These schools are all competing. They know who the kids that are going to be the big time targets are. And if you can get that win and the kid comes to your camp instead of going to their camp, you get the evaluation, you get the chance to spend some time, you get the chance to build that bond early. Like that, there were two twins that got offered today, 2024 from St. Ed's, offensive lineman. My goodness. The one is 6'7" and like 280, and the other one's like 6'5" and a half and 275. And they were like watching these defensive linemen try to get past them was like watching young children try to run into a brick wall. Like there wasn't, you know, normally like you've seen enough pass blocking drills, right? Where there's like you move this way or you push the guy all the way outside and he has to keep all the way around. It was just like this. And the kid, just stay right there. Don't go anywhere. No. You're not getting to my quarterback. No. So there's a lot of battles that are happening behind the scenes. And it is clear with that tweet. Like that Justin Rowland does a really good job with the Kentucky Rivals site. It is very clear with that tweet that there's a lot of people, and the fact that it got deleted even more so because it's one of those things like you're not supposed to say that out loud.
Right. And you know, it's funny to me though, just because like with Cincinnati are emerging as one of these teams that's now in the mix for a lot of these guys. For Kentucky, it was, you know, Ohio State and Kentucky are kind of equidistant from Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And, you know, you had SEC on the one side, you had Big Ten on the other.
But Kentucky wasn't beating Ohio State for Ohio kids.
No.
Ohio State wanted. What it was Vince Morrow, their lead recruiter / they call him a tight end coach. Anyhow, he's an Ohio guy. He used to be a high school football coach in Ohio. He has a ton of connections around the state. And Kentucky just kind of it was okay with the fact that, look, Ohio State's going to get theirs, but we're going to come in and we're going to gonna make a killing on a lot of these kids that aren't the Ohio State takes, and sell them on playing in the SEC, and
Well, I guess that's kind of what I'm saying, because with Kentucky, if that was indeed their recruiting strategy, it seems like that's kind of where they were okay with falling in the SEC. Like, well, we know Alabama and Georgia are going to be up there, but if you're all right being, right under that top tier,
but they didn't have much choice in that.
Sure didn't.
That's been their lot in life for a long time. And look, Stoops does a good job, and they put a good team together for the past couple of years.
They've definitely turned things around there.
They have not had as much success with the Ohio kids as you'd think maybe they should have, given a lot of the Ohio kids they've gotten. You've seen a lot of them transfer out of Kentucky. But now I think they're looking at this battle, and I think we've seen it with several. There was a thread on the Iowa State board about Manny Covey, who was their number one running back target. And some of those fans being like, them coming to the Big 12 is not good for us, boys and girls. Like, this is not ideal. This is not what we signed up for. Because they're in Iowa, there's not a ton of talent, and the talent that there is goes to Iowa. Right? So, like, they had relied on Ohio becoming, Matt Campbell's from Ohio. They had relied on Ohio being a fertile recruiting ground for them. Famously, as they had a camp in Ohio, Luke Fickell's first year, and Luke Fickell showed up with his son to the camp and just kind of stood there with 3 former UC linemen surrounding him in black shirts. It was it was quite a scene. It was quite a scene. I think they had like the Letterman's breakfast or the captain's breakfast that morning, and he just threw a couple Under Armour black polos on a couple of the dudes and brought them with him to the camp. Just kind of stood there. But it's incredible to watch how much momentum has shifted in the state of Ohio, to where in Cincinnati and throughout the state, Cincinnati has kind of become the cool kid, right? They're not the most popular kid.
Finally.
They're not the most popular kid, but they're the cool kid, right? Like, that carries a lot of weight. It's pretty it's been pretty wild to watch it happen in real time from our perspective, right?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
It's been different, but I like it. I like where it's at. I think it's interesting seeing Kentucky look at it that way now. Like, they're in World War III with Cincinnati, because Cincinnati's on the verge of being a real fucking problem for those people.
Maybe that's why he deleted the tweet. World War III references aren't super popular.
That wasn't it. That wasn't it.
Anyway.
In that context, nobody cares.
We'll see what happens tomorrow.
Your birthday.
It is my birthday.
It could be World War III in Athens. You versus beer. I fought the beer, and the beer won.
Time will tell.
That's the nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken. We'll see you tomorrow right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!